What is up, everyone? My name is YouTube Trev. I am co-host of the Hockey Edmonton Show, and joined beside me today is Jeremy Haluschak. We got a good one for you today. Jeremy, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, it's a beautiful day, and yeah, we're really going full speed here in hockey season, so it's an exciting time for us.
Absolutely. It is that time of the year. I got to give a quick props up to Dustin Nielsen. He did step in for me last week, so a huge shout out to Dusty. He's an absolute pro. Is it pretty fun working with him?
Oh, yeah, it was great. And the passion, and again, from his experience being a coach, it was great to have his perspective as well as a parent perspective as well. So get someone that's in the system that can ask the questions. And yeah, it was a very good, well-received show, I think. And yeah, we want to continue to make this as interactive. So again, we'll say at the end how to reach out to us. But yeah, it was a good show.
Absolutely. Yes, that is the theme today, as it is National Coaches Week. We do have a few guests today. For the first time, we've got 3 guests throughout the Hockey Edmonton program. So this is very exciting. We've got coaches in the elite program, community program, and female program. And we will be, they'll be clicking in here shortly. So that is the theme of today. And yeah, we do have some coaches here in the studio. Dusty, as you had mentioned, he's coached before. I'm pretty sure Walking Gauge has a little bit of coaching experience here and then. So coaching goes a long way. You hear it. So every so often when it's award night, Connor McDavid, whoever it is, the players, they thank their first coaches. And it goes a long way, right? Those are the coaches that really make you fall in love to the game of hockey. It's really cool. So we're going to be joined by some coaches pretty soon here, and we can't wait for that. But just quickly for you, was there a coach growing up that inspired you? Was it someone in the NHL? Was it someone really near and dear to you? Who was it, Jeremy?
Oh, yeah. For me, it was probably actually also my employer. I used to work at a year-round goalie school, John Stevenson. He's worked with a lot of pro athletes, Western Hockey League athletes, college, university. We worked at he was the owner of one of the top goalie schools in the city, gave the opportunity to get me into coaching in that, as well as not a bad way to earn some money. And also really, built some good friendships with a lot of the athletes that we trained, and got to see them progress throughout their careers and such. And then obviously the other one, we'll talk to him. He's one of my closest friends, Greg Terry. He's the one that got me into coaching as a from the coaching normal side of it in terms of working with a team and such. So. Yeah, those would be two of them for sure. And I think, like you said, you hit the nail on the head there, with National Coaches Week and how we really want to celebrate those pillars of the participant experience. You've heard me talk about it. People on the show have heard me talk about the pillars in the game. So that influence our participants' experience. So those are the officials, the coaches, the parents, as well as our associations. Hands down, the coaches have the most important role in the participant experience because they're the ones that interact with our participants the most. So again, we want to make sure that we're, showing them very good thanks in that because they do a lot of great work with our athletes. And again, like you said, you hear it all the time, thanking coaches, whether they were drafted into the NHL. It goes from top to bottom throughout a player's career. A coach can have such a positive impact.
No, absolutely. Well put there, Jeremy. So I do think our guest is ready. Before we bring him in, I'm just going to say quickly, question of the video to all the nasties, everyone listening out there on the Hockey Edmonton Show through Edmonton Sports Talk. Is there a coach that inspired you growing up? It could be someone, it was a coach of your favorite team. It could be someone who was near and dear to you that coached you through, minor hockey. And but drop a comment down below. We do read every single comment. And with that out of the way, I think we are ready to bring in Nathan Papirny, who is our first guest ever on the Hockey Edmonton Show. Nathan, if you can hear me, how are you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm great. I can hear you. You guys got me?
Yeah. We're all good here. So awesome. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, Jeremy or Nathan. So this is awesome. This is huge. You're our first guest, so we really appreciate you taking out the time, man. And let's kind of just get right to it. But what got you into coaching?
You play the sport, and then at like 19, I was like, I miss the fellas, I miss the guys, I miss the camaraderie. So that was probably my first thing into it. Reflecting on 20 years later, relationships. Trying to make a difference. Or we have a sport that I think a lot of people think is flawed, and um, there's a lot of great people in our sport, and I think that's what keeps me coming back is trying to make an impact, trying to make a difference, and again, the relationships, right? I mean, Jeremy mentioned some of the guys that that he's buddies with, and I know GT as well, and those guys, and that's just it. Our fraternity is so tight. Like you hear anybody talk about somebody, everybody knows somebody. It's so well connected, and it's such a brother sisterhood. It's just it's awesome. Like our sport is fantastic, and being a coach, like I said, that fraternity is fantastic.
No, absolutely, man. It is worth mentioning you are the head coach of the Edmonton Junior Oilers team. So sorry I forgot to bring that up. But yeah, you are in the competitive group, the elite program. How do you find the balance to bring in the enjoyment for the players, but as well as trying to be competitive with your players and the team?
Like any walk of life, just trying to treat people the way you want to be treated. I was blessed growing up. I had a guy named Eddie Patnode, who's kind of a legend around the city for a long time, and we would run through a wall for that guy. Like it was the first thing you built trust. He didn't come at you right away. There was a trust built. So when those conversations came up where that are hard, they're awesome. You just like there's such a trust there that this guy's doing the right thing for me, and you try to you try to build that. Like we talk to our group all the time. Like loyalty, trust aren't things we just walk in with on day one. Like we're here to build that. We're here to create those relationships, and then from there you try expanding on those. Those hard conversations come later, and so do the good ones. Like a lot of people do talk like, oh, hockey's hard, having those hard conversations, but man, is there a lot of great conversations. This week alone, we have three guys in our group that could have been back this year right now that made the Western League or the new Devon Extreme team. And I tell you, those text messages are what they're all about.
No, absolutely. That's good, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. This is the Hockey Edmonton Show. YouTube Trev with Jeremy Haluschak here. Just curious, sticking on this theme, was there a coach you looked up to growing up?
Oh, well, I'm an 82, so I loved slats. Like as far as like pros went, boys on the bus. I mean, you watch
Good pick.
those videos of slats talking, and it's more than just a game, and I think that's what not enough people realize. They think that we show up to the rink an hour before, and then we practice and we get out of there, and you're 2 hours before a game, but we're dealing with athletes that are 15 to 17, high school age, dealing with social media, dealing with pressures of parents, dealing with, hey, three guys on this team got signed, I didn't. You're constantly trying to be there for these guys. And I think that's where Slats was a big thing for me. It was like reading more on him, following more on him, was just those relationships and how key it is to be there for guys. And then locally, like, honestly, like I'm learning all the time from guys. Like, it's just, Joel Ennius is the guy, obviously Jeremy knows. There's a guy I met a few years ago. They take things from him all the time. Lee Zalaski, another coach in our program, same thing. So like, it's such a growth mindset fraternity. Like everybody's always stealing, and like, even though we're competitive against other teams, like Redlick, there's another guy from St. Albert. Like he's, to me, the one of the best coaches in the city, and I try to steal whatever I can from that guy. So I think it's always trying to find new mentors, new guys to look up to, take little tidbits, and just always trying to improve.
No. Yep, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely. So I think one of the things that we want to inspire is that next generation of coaches as well, as they're coming through the system and, like you said, giving back to the game. How did you get into coaching as a whole?
Honestly, so one of my little brothers was playing at a low level, at a tiered level, and their coach quit. And my old man was like, they need someone to finish out the year. Would you do this? So I grabbed four buddies. We did it. And then, boom, there's that. Oh my God, did I miss that camaraderie? I miss the relationships of being with the guys. And again, coaching, the boys have the room or the girls have the room, but we also have our room. And, that's the other side of it, is just having those relationships and having, they're special. They really are. You have lifelong friends. Like I got a lot of former players that are coaches now, and my biggest piece of advice to them is just like be vulnerable, man. Like, just be you. Don't try to be somebody else, and just enjoy the ride, because it's a lot of fun. As Jeremy, you know this, right? It's just, I don't know. What else would you rather be doing, you know?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good answer, man. You talk about that. This is the next generation and whatnot. But how important is it to be the first coach a player could have? You know, you guys, you have a lot of. It's a first impression for a lot of these players, right? And that carries on to more than just being hockey, but just life as well. So do you look at that? It's more than just hockey. It's life, and there's life goals you can learn along the way with playing hockey.
Oh, like, I get asked all the time, and I know a lot of other coaches do, like, oh, who do you have that plays pro? And I'm like, man, I got like 20 engineers. I got guys that are project managements at PCL. I got dads. I got like great family guys. I got lawyers. We had a guy that was that's at Oilers Nation as a writer. Like, everybody wants to talk about those guys, but you think about what the success rate is to actually one make a living at it, and again, back to your point, it is so much more than life. Like, it is. I run into these guys at trade shows and stuff, and still golf with them, and they reach out and, hey, I graduated from engineering, and that's what it's about. You're developing young men to be good citizens, and a lot of them are on that track. I know a lot of people don't think they are, but it's our job to kind of guide them and also let them know, like, we're not just here for you for a year. Like, we're here for you for good. Like, I always tell guys that, like, 15 years from now, if you're in trouble, call me. Like, I'm here for you. Like, these guys put in so much work, the commitment level, the 5-6 days a week, the grind. It's tough, and if you don't respect those guys back and they're not more to you, then I don't think you should be coaching.
Right on. No, that's awesome. It's Nathan Papirny joining us right now, head coach of the Edmonton Junior Oilers team. We appreciate the time, man. Just any advice for anyone looking to be a coach one day? I myself, I've always wanted to be a coach. Personally, I just my dad was my coach. It's something I've always wanted to do. And so any advice to up and comers that want to be a coach one day?
Be open-minded, be vulnerable, and just, we always tell guys, you don't bring your ego in the room. You don't bring your ego in the room. Go talk to people. Go enjoy the fraternity. Like, I encourage guys all the time, like, go talk to the other coach before the game. Go have that conversation. Like, the networking's incredible. The conversations you can have. Like, at the end of the day, I could sit here and say, okay, we run our 1-2-2 forecheck, a 1-2-2 neutral zone. We're going to do the 1-3-1 on the power play. Like, regardless, the guys have to do the work and execute it. But, like, we're all trying to get better. We all have different reasons for being here. Same as players. There's guys that are, at the elite level that want to go to the NHL. There's guys that want to go to the NCAA. There's guys that after this year want to go play junior B. And it's the same thing in the coaching thing. We all have different goals, and we're basically just respect everybody and treat people how you would want to be.
Right on. That's awesome. Anything to add on that, Jeremy?
No, I think like we said here throughout our podcasts episodes, you really highlighted what we want in the system and how hockey creates great people. And definitely, like, I love the comment that you made about creating that lifelong good person, and definitely appreciate that the work that you do in the game and such. I think. Yeah. You hit everything on the head there, Trevor, with the questions and such. And like I said, Nathan definitely is one of our great coaches in our system, and not just saying that because he's part of the Junior Oiler program, but again, you recognize the names throughout the years. Through my time at Hockey Alberta, you see the names come through, and obviously, again, when you're part of that fraternity, you're well respected there. So definitely, one of our great coaches here as a whole, and a good person.
Yeah, sweet. Awesome. Well, Nathan, thank you so much for the time, taking the time out of your day. You are officially the first guest we've ever had on the Hockey Edmonton Show. So appreciate the time. Have a hell of a season. I'm sure you will. And where can people, has the season started up quite yet? Just getting underway?
We're just getting underway. Just on that note, appreciate you guys. Truly do. I think our markets needed something like this for a long time. I truly do. I respect what you guys are doing. I think a lot of people are going to buy into what you guys are doing. There's obviously going to be some cool content and cool guests. Other than that, we're at Bill Hunter. Check us out, AEHL, U18, AAA. And yeah, there's some great teams in here. So it's not just the Junior Oilers Blue, but all the communities around here, from Lloyd to Sherwood Park to St. Albert, everywhere has great minor hockey. And yeah, just get out and support the group.
Absolutely. Sweet. Thank you, Nathan, for the time
Awesome.
today. Have a good one, man.
Yeah,
You
thanks,
too.
Nathan.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Sweet. Sweet. Well, there you go. Not bad, eh?
Yeah, no, that turned out very well for our first.
I think so. That went pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that was the first time I've actually ever interviewed anyone on the show here. So, I'm not. It does help seeing LT, seeing Dusty, seeing Tom Gazzola. Everyone, they all handle it so good. And so I've had some pretty good people to learn from over the last year, I guess. So that was pretty sweet. But that was Nathan Papirny, the head coach of the Edmonton Junior Oilers Team Blue. Absolute stud. Love what he had to say. It's so cool. Man, just I'm thrilled with that.
Well, yeah, and one of the interesting things, and you're going to hear the story as well. Similarly, like my buddy Greg, we coached the same way. It was at the community level first, and even a few other coaches that I know that gone through the system. Again, it's coaching through the community level, whether it's a family member, such as a younger brother, for example. One of the guys that I used to coach with Greg when he was the head coach. Greg ended up coaching with him for a long time, and that was Stephen Waskew. And same thing, that same story. He coached with his dad, his younger brother at U18, I think U15 actually. So again, that's kind of how you just get hooked into it, and then all of a sudden it grows. That bug inside you grows, and you love it. Like Nathan said, it's being at the arena. When I coached my group of U13s and they were also U11s, I coached them both the U11 and U13 level. It was the greatest thing to come to the rink and just watch them interact with each other, listen to their stories, conversations, but sometimes being that person there to help navigate some of their challenges and such as well. But, had a great group of kids, and yeah, that's why you do it is that bonding and that experience.
Absolutely. No, that's for sure. The bloodline for me, there's a lot of coaches. I know my dad was my coach. My stepdad was also my coach, and my dad's dad coached him growing up. So a lot of coaching, and I just love it. Like what he said, you develop, that's the future, right? But you're not only developing players, whether it's on the elite group or whatnot, if you're just looking to have fun, it's life goals you can learn from the sport of hockey, and it's so much more than just hockey as a whole. So that is awesome. And what a great first guest. I was really happy with how that went, man. Not gonna lie. So I do think we are ready for our second guest on ever here on the Hockey Edmonton Show. As we now bring in Sage Sansregret. I apologize. I think I'm saying your name correctly. This is the assistant coach, Edmonton Junior Oilers White. My apologies. But Sage, how the heck are you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Really good. Yes, we just had our first guest ever on the show, and you are officially our second guest we've ever had. So this is awesome. Just want to say a huge shout out to all the coaches out there, as it is National Coaches Week. And with that out of the way, we're going to stick on this theme. But what got you into coaching? What makes a good coach? Let's just stick with what got you into coaching first.
I think that's a bit of a tricky question for me. Honestly, I got kind of thrown into coaching after a little bit of an injury. So my journey to coaching was definitely a little bit off the beaten path, if you would. But I kind of got thrown into it after an injury. It was just a way for me to stay involved in the game and start to give back to female hockey. So no, that's how I kind of started out. So it was about a couple of years ago now. So.
No, right on. Was there a coach that you looked up to growing up that inspired you? Did you have a coach? Was it someone you watched on TV? Was it someone close to you?
I think honestly, like my biggest inspiration, there was a coach that I played for in university. His name was Doug Paisley. He was fantastic. It was my first year of university. I was really nervous going into it, and he was a fantastic mentor, a fantastic guy, really made you feel at home. So he was definitely up there for me.
No, right on. So this year it was announced, the PWHL, finally a league for, professional women, like a hockey league, which is just great. It's so good. And you could potentially be coaching the next generation. Like how cool is that? Do you go into work being like, oh, wow, like I could be coaching the next Wickenheiser or the next Natalie Spooner?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's a big deal when you see like even girls that you were playing against that are there now. So I think that's huge. But it's so exciting. Like we just finished a really great weekend at Firestarter this last weekend, and just seeing the growth over just a weekend with some of these players is huge. And to know that they're going to go off and play NCAA or U Sport, and they're going to keep growing and keep developing into amazing people and amazing players. And then for them to one day be able to make a huge impact in the PWHL, and that's going to be huge. And hopefully one day I'll be able to purchase a jersey with one of their last names on the back of it. So,
No, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Nathan was talking earlier, obviously, with the, junior Oiler teams, there's that kind of bond as well between the teams and such and the organizations. And Nathan, we had as our first guest, and he was talking about, that fraternity and such. And again, I haven't met face to face with Sage, but recognize the name through my Hockey Alberta days as well. Seeing the names come through the programming and such, and again, exciting to see a next generation giving back into the game and enjoying the game in a different manner. When you're coaching, what approach do you take in coaching your athletes? Especially, you are at the higher level, obviously the pinnacle of the female program in the minor system. So how do you approach that as a coach, and what do you how do you approach with your athletes?
yeah, that's a really good question. I think every coach has their own philosophy, but for me, I think my philosophy is built on a person first mentality. So yes, you're coaching an athlete, but you have to get to know the person before you get to know the athlete. We have a lot of athletes that have moved away from home. They're living in a new place. Maybe they have a lot of different stressors in their life, whether it's school, family, partners. So I think just being able to be empathetic to their situation is going to get you a lot farther with a player than if you were to just treat them like an athlete. So that's my approach.
Yeah, it's definitely, as we continue to talk about how hockey makes great people. And again, when we look at it, just the relationship with a coach is just more than teaching them the X and the O's and proper practice habits. It's really being that confidant. Sometimes, yeah, the confidant a player feels most comfortable going to in certain situations. So again, the idea of developing that good relationship with your athletes is key, definitely.
Absolutely. So Sage Sansregret is joining us now, who is, and I apologize. Am I saying that correctly?
It's Sauna Gray. So yeah.
I am butchering. My apologies.
Okay.
Sauna Gray. Oh my
It's
gosh.
all
Okay.
good. You really got to French it. So no worries.
Sauna Gray. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Assistant coach Edmonton Junior Oilers White is joining us right now on the Hockey Edmonton Show. Just lastly, but what have you learned from coaching? How long have you been? First off, how long have you been coaching? Actually.
So this will be, I want to say, around my 4th year coaching. It's my 3rd season with the Junior Oilers program. So yeah.
Awesome. And is this something you want to continue to do for quite some time?
Yeah, I think the more that I begin to grow and understand like the best approaches to coaching, the more that I'm really enjoying it. Truthfully, if you told me that I would start enjoying it as much as I am, I probably would have never believed you. But I definitely see this being a big part of my life for many years to come.
That's so awesome. Awesome. Well, Sage, thank you so much for joining us. You were officially our second guest we ever had on the show. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to say? Where can people watch your team?
Yeah, so you guys can watch Junior Oilers White at Flow Hockey, and you can watch quite a few alumni in U Sports, NCAA, and ACAC. So catch them too. They're doing very well there. So
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Sage. I promise by next time we have you on the show, your last name, I'll have her down. So thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks,
Thanks
Sage.
guys. Have a good one.
Yes, have a good one. That was Sage. Okay, that was good. Aside from my my terrible name butchering there, that was awesome. What great feedback that was. It's so cool. I'm so happy that she was able to shed some light on potentially, like, it's a passion, you could clearly tell, and coaching the next generation, it's pretty cool. That's one thing that I don't think you never know, right? It's a question mark. You could be coaching someone, and that's not the end all be all, but it is pretty sweet. She could be coaching the next Wickenheiser,
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've made, through Hockey Alberta coaching programs, I think we've made a lot of great strides, especially growing the female game. You can look at Hockey Alberta, they have a binder with all the pictures of the Team Alberta programs. And, probably 15 years ago, it was all, if it was even a female program, it was all male coaches. And then as the years go on, you start to see those female coaches in those team pictures, starting assistant coaches and then starting to become head coaches. And now, as you go on in that system, in that program, for anybody that's had experience, they know this, but they have a coach mentor as well with them during the short-term competitions. So we'll talk about this in the spring, the Cup, the Challenge, the Prospects Cup. So the Alberta Challenge is the female program there. And yeah, now you're starting to see the mentors coming back and giving back to the program and to the community as a whole. So it's great to see the growth of the female coaching side of it. And again, we're going to have more detailed conversations throughout the season with people there. But like I said, definitely exciting and great to see people giving back to the game.
No, 100%. And I do believe our next and final guest is ready here on the Hockey Edmonton Show with YouTube Trev and Jeremy Haluschak. I reckon that you're good buds with this guy, so let's bring him on. This is Greg Terry. He is the head coach of the U18 AA for the Maple Leaf Athletic Club on the community level, I believe.
That's in our elite system, but Greg, he's a guy that's gone through the entire coaching gamut. I'm very happy about this one. He's one of my closest friends, somebody that got me into coaching at the team level. We've gone through the community program from U18, U13, U11, and he's done that as well on his own and coached at U15, U18 at the elite levels. He's pretty much done almost everything you can coaching.
Absolutely. So as we bring him in right now, Greg Terry, how you doing, Greg?
Doing great. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. This is our first time that we've actually had guests on the Hockey Edmonton Show. So thank you for taking the time out of your day. We really, really appreciate it. And we're sticking to this theme. It is National Coaches Week. This is awesome. What got you into coaching, man?
Honestly, I started coaching. I should have still been playing almost. I was 19 years old, and I got in. The guys were like, hey, you've taken your EMR. Is there any chance you'd want to be a trainer? So I was like, sure, I'll come in and I'll train. I'll help you guys out. And I get on there, and lo and behold, not only am I a trainer, like, hey, would you like to be an assistant coach? And I'm like, absolutely. Why not? So I started off at coaching in the Northeast Zone, midget tier 2 at the time. And I was 19. I'm now turning 44 and I'm still coaching.
Right on. Well, there you go.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I played up until Pee Wee. I stopped. I didn't play my year Bantam. I was kind of tired of hockey as a player. Politics, different things. It just I lost my lust for the game. And when I got asked to come back to coaching, it just rekindled the fire. I do it for the players. So I have zero desire to coach high level hockey, like AAA Bantam, and that's lots. That's good enough for me. I like working with young players. I like making hockey players become better people, players. That's why I do this.
No, that's great, man. That kind of goes into my next question, but I was going to ask, what's your approach? Are you a player's coach? And clearly you are. So that's awesome, man. Really appreciate that. What, in your eyes, was there someone that inspired you growing up that you wanted to be a coach, or that made you want to be a coach? Were you a fan of someone that, their way of coaching could be on TV, could be in, just someone personally?
Honestly, I think a lot of it would have been enjoying. I had a couple of really good coaches towards the end. I can't remember their last names. It's been a while, but Lee and Dale were probably my two last coaches, and both guys were phenomenal. I played KC when I was growing up, and both those guys were phenomenal with us as players. They'd really work with you. They were doing the right things to try and keep you in the game. And I really wanted to model myself kind of after what those two guys were doing, because they weren't there for the organization. They weren't there for the parents so much. They were there to try and make sure that we wanted to come to the rink. We were learning, we were becoming better people.
Yeah, definitely. We talk about how impactful coaches are in the participant experience as one of our pillars in the participant experience, the most important one. I know we touched on this a little bit, but in terms of coaching your athletes, how do you approach coaching your athletes? And I mean, from a perspective, because we talked with Nathan Papirny was our first guest, and Sage was our second guest. And so again, we talk about the fraternity. You're aware of, well known for both of them as well. You know them as well. So we talked about at the elite level, but at the community level, how do you approach coaching your athletes, both at the young age? So when we were coaching U11, U13, as well as when we were coaching U18 at the community level, because again, for those. It was in the co-ed program. So for those guys, it was not so much wanting to get to that next level if they were playing, as opposed to playing AAA, but keeping them engaged in the game itself. So again, how did you approach coaching, or how do you approach coaching those athletes?
I say if we start at the older level, because that's kind of where I cut my teeth, I would say the biggest thing is having a mutual respect. You have to make sure that they respect you. When they respect you, when they're in the U18 level, there's a greater chance that they're actually going to come, they're going to listen, they're going to participate in a meaningful way. The kicker was, if you come in and you try and rule with an absolute iron fist and you're going to be like super hard, these guys are just looking for an outlet, a fun place to play hockey, learn some stuff, but they don't want it to be so hard. It can't be AAA style. You can't go into community hockey with an iron fist and we're going to have 5 practices and 2 games and we have no nights off. You have to let these kids have a life outside of hockey. And even at the AAA level, I think this is a miss, because like I have a high level athlete myself, and I think we miss in the instance that we get so sports specific all the time. Like I hate it when, you tell a player they can't play high school football. You can't go be on a volleyball team. Like every one of these players should be able to experience whatever other sport there is and still be able to play a high level athlete game. When you're talking community, there's no chance. These, like I'm in tryouts right now, and yeah, we're 18 double. I get it, but kids are like, "Hey coach, I'm going to be at football this week. Is it okay if yeah, absolutely miss practice, go play football." Like there's no reason that shouldn't be a thing. But for me, making sure that those kids respect you, that's number one. Because if they respect you, it's going to go much, much further than you just coming in and trying to run the show. Ask them questions, find out what they actually like. Like, I think these kids were shocked this year. I'm coaching 18 AA, and I literally walked in, round of practice, at the end of the practice, said, "Good skate. We could clean up a couple of things. Does anybody have anything they want to do next skate?" And the whole group just kind of stared at me, and they were like, "Is he joking?" And I'm like, "Well, no, like, is there something you guys would like to do?" And of course, everybody, "Oh, let's scrimmage," or "Let's do this." And one of the players was actually like, "Hey, can we do like the Perry Pern 3-on-3?" I was like, "Absolutely. We'll run that at the end of the practice." And I did it. So I think the kids were shocked because they're like, "Oh, this guy actually listened and he ran it." But it makes a difference when you do that. When you're at the younger levels, it's definitely different. You have to pay more attention to parents, because at that age group, parents are the ones that are getting their kids to the rink. So you have to be mindful of, you have to listen to what the parents are telling you. But at the end of the day, I was still trying to make sure that I was making a good experience for the player. And that's what you're really there for. You want that player to want to come back and play hockey. You want them to have that good experience where they talk about the coaching staffs that did something good for them, not, "Oh my God, I don't want to go back on the ice again." So I think for me, being a player's coach is number one. And honestly, it's respect. If the players respect you, I think you're going to go so much further at the community level than ever anywhere else.
No, for sure. It's, we talked about with Nathan, the lifelong relationships. And I want two examples that you have at both the, at the extreme end. I was coaching with you when we're coaching Maple Leaf Athletic Club U15 AA. So you kind of know the player I'm going to talk about. But, we talk about coaches and being excited to see them get to the ultimate goal. And that was, one of the players that you coached and had definitely a significant impact because you've become lifelong friends with him, and that's Alex Petrovic. So, talk about kind of that relationship, but also, as I was telling Trevor before we came on the air, Nathan was talking about, and similar to how you got involved, both were, hey, we need somebody, and Nathan was saying how he coached his brother. One of the people that you coached with a long time, Steven, it was almost the same thing. You were his assistant or head coach when we're coaching U18. He got into that same realm of coaching with his dad and his younger brother. But you guys became, very, very close friends. So we talk about how you've been able as a coach to make an impact on people's lives. Just explain kind of the relationships that you've had with some of those, with a lot of your players, quite honestly, a lot of good friends. I remember, your wedding and a lot of the kids that you coached showed up there. So again, talk about those lifelong relationships. Yeah, just go into some of those specific examples there.
Absolutely. Like Alex was an absolute phenomenal hockey player. I think he still is. I think personally, I think it's a miss by a bunch of teams that play in the NHL that guy isn't actually a fixture in the league. Absolutely great human being. He came through. We took him as an underage at Bantam, and he was super young, and we worked him hard. And that next year that he goes in there and he plays Bantam, he goes right to triple. Then he basically gets vaulted into midget, and he's rolling his way through all the programs. And it's hard when they're super duper young, when you you don't keep in constant contact with them, but you'll phone them and you'll kind of text, you'll find out, you'll see him and you ask him how things are going. And then when he made it to the WHL, it's hard. It's really hard to talk to a guy when you're not super, super close. So you'll try to message them. They'll message you back. Hey, thanks for messaging me, coach. And you'll go along those lines. And then when he makes the show, and then you congratulate him, because that's the only player I've ever coached that's made it to the NHL. And you text him, he texts you back. You'll have a couple of conversations, and you do different things. And it's wild because he'll go for a round of golf. He'll sit down and have a coffee with you. We were going down to Florida for a family vacation, and we're like, hey, Alex, is there any chance you'd be interested in hooking us up with some tickets? And hook us up with tickets. He just gave us tickets. It wasn't even like he didn't charge us. And then he brings us down to the player room after. My kids got to meet, Yager. Who else did they meet? Ekblad. And it's really cool experience for people when you have that kind of an in. And still to this day, I could text Alex, have a conversation with him. He's such a great guy. And all he wants to do is work and play hockey. He works hard to be a hockey player. Going to be a great dad. He's such a superhuman. So him and his wife are just, it's fantastic, to see where that kind of makes it to. Everybody doesn't make the NHL. Everybody doesn't play in the dub. So it's pretty cool when you have those kinds of relationships. Then he was coaching him at U15. And then you talk about, I coached Steve in U18 his last year midget. I had to convince him to play for us. He's like, no, I'm just going to go down. I'm going to play tier 2. My dad, his buddy, got a couple of friends down there. We're just going to go and have a real fun season. You can have a real fun season with us. And Steve will constantly remind me that he scored the game-winning goal in playoffs, so we could get to provincials. We won't talk about provincials. That was a bit of that's a sore spot. But I was the midget director for the Northeast Zone, and Steve was looking to get into coaching. So he had a couple of years where he got out of hockey, and then he's like, hey, can I coach for you guys? Can I coach midget? So U18, we're looking for non-parent coaches as much as humanly possible. Just didn't want people always constantly saying, oh, this person makes the team because you're friends with so-and-so, or, this person's dad coaches and they're all friends. So I was really trying to break the cycle of the stigma of it's who you know. And we got a lot of young guys to come and coach in the Northeast zone. We had some really, really great coaching staff, some superhumans that were out there coaching these kids that maybe the kids that we had coaching might have been 19, 20, 21 to start. And they were only coaching kids that were 16, 17. Some really good guys. Steve wanted to pursue more of a high-level coaching career. So he left the Northeast zone, went to coach Bantam AA, U15 AA at Southside, and he kind of just kept making his way through. And then he wanted to take a stab at AAA. So we had talked, we'd golf together, we'd do some different things. And he calls me in, he's like, Greg, he's like, can we go for lunch? And I'm like, okay, sure. We go meet for lunch. He's like, I need a coach to help me with AAA. Because I need an experienced guy, somebody that's good with players that can come and help me coach a higher level. So I coached the last 7 years with Steve at 16 triple, 17 triple, and 15 AAA. It's been an absolutely great experience working with these players, and every organization we've been in a couple, I have nothing bad to say about them. They've all been phenomenal in my mind. Easy to work with. They support their coaches. It's been awesome. So
Sweet.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely, it's funny. You talk about Stephen reaching out to you, and Nathan said that earlier in his interview. One of the things that he recommends to coaches is that vulnerability, and for Steve to do that and reach out to a trusted mentor definitely shows that, yeah, if you want to be a good coach, being vulnerable, being open and such. And again, you highlighted as well what our associations as well, how they support our coaches in our programs. And again, really, really encourage them to develop, really encourage them to, break their comfort zone and challenge them as coaches. And again, that's one of the things, if you're interested in coaching, our associations are there to support you. Hockey Edmonton and Hockey Alberta have a number of coaching programs available. So we are going to get you to the level that you want through our coaching programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Terry joining us now here on the Hockey Edmonton Show. He's the head coach of the U18 AA for the Maple Leaf Athletic Club. Greg Terry, just one more question for you, man. Sorry, I keep saying your last name. Greg, just one more question for you, man, before we wrap up. But any advice to up-and-coming coaches out there? I want to be a coach one day. What would you say to someone who's hungry and eager and wants to be a coach?
Honestly, I would say keep the passion, keep the enthusiasm. I mean, it's one thing it's hard, right? And you'll get beaten down. There'll be years that are tough. Maybe the team struggles. Parents can be a little bit difficult sometimes, but if you're new and you're coming in, just come in with a great passion, come in, wanting to experience everything, because no part of it's 100% bad. No part of it's really 100% good. It's not possible, but it's what you make of it. And the experience is only going to be as good as you want it to be. And I think as a coach, every year I come back and this year I was close. We didn't get asked back to Southside. And I was like, I'll take the year off. I'll watch my daughter. She plays U18 AAA, and it's I'll just go work the penalty box, and I'll sit in the stands, be a dad this year. And then MLEC had their coach he walked off to go coach a different club, and I was they're phoning, and I'm like, you know what, I want to watch my own kid, but you know what, I'm not letting 19, 20 other kids down. I'll coach. And that's how I look at it, is I don't want to let down another group of kids, and I'm still going to try and make everything I can for my own daughter. But you have to. It's so fun. The amount that you're giving back to your community, the amount you're giving back to individuals, you can't describe how rewarding being a coach is. And yeah, there's some tough spots along the way, but there's honestly, you're giving back to your community, and you're helping in the youth. And that's, to me, it's so worth it. You can go any level. You could walk into any organization in Edmonton, and I'd be hard pressed to believe that they wouldn't be like, oh, we have a good young person that wants to help out in our program. 100%. I'd be shocked if they didn't take that person in somewhere. They would find a place for you, because everybody's looking for somebody young, somebody vibrant to come in and help out. And honestly, it's rewarding. It's so rewarding getting to see these kids like when they're young. And it was funny. My Facebook memories popped up. There's a young fellow that's trying out for, must be U15 AAA, maybe U13 actually. I think U13 AAA. And the first 3 days he came on the ice for us in initiation, he wouldn't even leave the bench. I literally would have to pick him up, take him off, and like airplane him around the ice and then try and get him to skate, chase me, like anything to try and get him to come off the bench. Now this kid's going to play U13 AAA, or like, I mean, it's incredible to hear and see these things, right? Like you make an absolute difference if you're willing to, and it doesn't matter what level it is. And the kids really love it when it's not apparent. 100%, particularly at the younger ages. It's all cool that I'm out there as a dad, but they know I'm, Madison's dad or Liam's dad when I'm out there coaching. If you have no relation to anybody and you're a fun young adult and you go out there to help, they love it. The kids absolutely eat that up. So I would 100% recommend it. It's fulfilling on different levels. It's so fun.
Greg, awesome stuff, man. You absolutely brought it today. That's what we love to hear. This was just great. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. I can just tell you're an absolute hell of a coach, and I would love for you to be my coach one day because, just everything you're saying, I'm just like, wow, I want my kid one day to hopefully be coached by Greg. So thank you so much, man. We really appreciate the time. Lastly, where can people cheer on your team?
For us, MLAC U18 double, we're moved to the AHL website now. It's kind of nice. That NAHL website was a little hard to follow for a bit there, but our season starts, I think we're October 3rd or 4th, and we got a 32 game season. Most of it's played around town in Edmonton here, and it's going to be absolute rocket. I think we're going to have a hell of a team this year, and it's I'm looking forward to coaching again. It's not that I didn't look forward to coaching last year, the year before, but you just always have this passion where you're like, yes. And I'm excited. We got a good group of guys. It's going to be an awesome team. I can't wait to get the season started.
Absolutely, man.
Perfect.
Great stuff today, man. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, and have the best season, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much for having me on.
Thanks, Greg.
Of course. Wow. I'm speechless. Oh my gosh, I'm speechless. You could just tell the passion from Greg there. He's like, what a great guest to finish on. All of them just lovely, but you could tell it hit a little different, and maybe that's why he was at the community, and he said he was at the community level. It's not so much for the skill and wanting to win and all that. It's just the pure joy, and it's just riveting. You can just see it. Oh wow, that's I'm speechless almost.
No, definitely, and like I said, this coaching fraternity again, because Greg would have known Sage because of his daughter Madison playing in that league, and Greg and Nathan cross paths multiple times and know each other, and again through our coaching fraternity, it is a small world. But just an example of really great coaches there that want to give back in different ways. And like I said, Greg, he doing the math here, I really don't want to do the math because that just dates how old I am. But over 20 years, applauding his wife as well for putting up with him coaching. But she was part of that coaching journey too, in terms of really supporting the players and just being there at the rink. And again, it's just, you go to that rink and it's just fun. It was always fun coaching with him and that. So again, I think, it just highlights what we want to accomplish here this week with this show in our coaches and thanking them during National Coaches Week put on by the Coaching Association of Canada. It's, really, really important that we say thank you, and really thank you to all coaches, whether you're in hockey, football, baseball, soccer, gymnastics, swimming. There's tons and tons and tons of great coaches that are giving back to their community, building strong communities. We boast about hockey, and you've seen three people here talking about how they build better people through coaching, and those players come back to coach and give back to their communities. Again, Nathan, Greg, they've been in the coaching realm for a long period of time. Sage just getting in there, but again, she's influencing that next generation that are going away to school as their next steps for a lot of them. So again, really showing that how coaches impact and make a positive influence in the game and in society and in our communities.
No, absolutely. It was great stuff from all of our guests today. And to Sage, if you're listening right now, I, again, do apologize for absolutely butchering your name. But this was great, man. I think that pretty well. You got any final thoughts? I know you wanted to touch on a little bit in the investment in coaching.
Yeah, just to touch again, talking about National Coaching Association of Canada, we talked about early in our first episode there about those standards. And this is the organization that develops those standards for our coaches in the Hockey Edmonton, Hockey Alberta realm. They're the ones who empower our coaches and our organizations with the knowledges and skills to be effective coaches. They promote ethics and foster positive coaching attitudes. You talk about, how it was back 30, 40 years ago. You talk about Greg, that iron fist. Not anymore. And again, the ethical side of coaching. That's that standard that we talk about, that all of our coaches, our head coaches, and a lot in Edmonton, our assistant coaches have coaching clinics that are offered through Hockey Alberta. And again, builds that competency, and increases the credibility and the recognition of coaches. So not only, events like National Coaches Week, but again, the resources they put in to coach development and to maintain that certification. It's just like any profession. Be it accounting or human resources, there are certain amount of credits that you have to maintain your coaching accreditations and that. So again, that's one of the standards. Again, organizationally, they work with our organizations to develop and deliver coach education and advocate for safety in the sport. So again, the national level at Hockey Canada. So here's the coaching, philosophy across the country. Hockey Canada takes that and applies it to the hockey system. For our coaches, they advocate for the profession and set those ethical standards at every level. And again, like we said, help them achieve their high standards by ensuring, again, development opportunities. And it's not just even at the Hockey Alberta development opportunities. There are a number of different interpersonal development opportunities for coaches. And then again, for the parents, it's important to know that this is the educational and ethical standard for coaching from our sport organizations that are part of the Coaching Association of Canada. So again, we talk about that standard. Again, since it's launched, a couple of things to know. Since it's launched in 1974, the National Coaching Certification Programs put more than 1.8 million coaches through the program. And each year, over 60,000 coaches take some sort of NCCP workshop. The majority of the coaches in Alberta, so obviously all of them in our Hockey Alberta system, but in other realms as well, they have gone through this program. So again, Hockey Alberta does a great job training coaches. And again, just to highlight some of these, and I'm not going to go into detail because we're going to have them on here in a few weeks, but, at the end of the day, we have coaching programs specifically for each age group. So our intro to hockey for U7 and U9. So there's a specific, broad topics there, but also specifics with those specific age groups. Again, our minor leagues coach course, that's from U11 to U18 and directed to those that are in the community program. So again, talking at those specific ages, what skills should those players be learning and such. At the AA level, our development one. So again, a higher standard because these are, those athletes that are starting to actually, go into that elite structure and elite stream. So again, there's a higher standard there. High performance one for our AAA coaches at the highest level. So the U18, U15 level, again, talks about getting those athletes to the next level and a lot more that goes into it than just the X's and the O's side of it. Again, we talked about last week with Dusty, how does Hockey Alberta make the game safe? And Hockey Canada, the checking skills program, another coach program that teaches, again, the appropriateness of body contact. And again, the Respect in Sport Activity Leader program as well. And, continuing development opportunities throughout, be it, speaker series, interactive sessions, mentorship programs. Again, if you want to get into the program coaching, it might seem daunting. You've heard from a lot of good coaches. They all started kind of, beginner steps, just getting their feet wet. Hockey Edmonton, Hockey Alberta, we're here to help you become a great coach. And again, through those standards of the National Coaching Certification Program.
Awesome. Well put, man. No, it's very exciting. I just will say quickly, the new wave of coaches and whatnot. It seems to be it's a new trend, right? Like when I was growing up, I'm not gonna lie, I did have excluding my dad, but I had there's the stereotypical kind of hockey coach, but like it goes such a long way. When your coach is fun and amazing, it brings you in. Like that's why you want. If you kind of got a not the nicest coach, you're not going to want to come play hockey. So it goes such a long way with the kids, right? Like that's why they fall in love with the sport. The coach has so much, just so much to add, so much to that. So great stuff from all of our guests today. Greg absolutely brought it. Nathan, Sage, all of them. Like you can just tell. They're very extremely passionate about coaching, and it shows. So it was a great show. Jeremy, you absolutely brought it today.
Yeah, I want to say, exactly. Like you said, thank you to all the coaches. That's the most important thing here this week. And not just this week, we're, throughout the season, thank you for everything you do for the game and giving back to the game. Again, as we said, you're the most important piece in the participant experience. And again, we want to thank you so much from Hockey Edmonton, Hockey Alberta, nationally across the board. Everybody thanks you for the work you do. And I think, that's pretty much it. Obviously, one other thing in terms of, again, if you have questions, comments, anything you want to see in future episodes, Trev said drop a line, but also office@hockeyedmonton.ca and put in the subject line Hockey Edmonton Show question. And we'll try to get them on. Sometimes, again, as Dusty had mentioned last week, apparently we're okay organized in terms of our schedule. So we might not get it on that week because it might be on a future topic show that we're doing anyway. So again, shoot us an email. Again, playhockeyedmonton.ca, the website. Registration for programs are still going on. So
sweet. Absolutely. Yeah. Huge shout out to all the coaches out there, as it is National Coaches Week. This is awesome. What a great episode. I had a lot of fun with this, Jeremy. This was it was really, really cool. And like he said, question of the video, was there a coach that inspired you growing up? Who was your favorite coach? It could have been, if we heard Glenn Sather was mentioned by Nathan there. So there's a lot of great coaches, and from the looks of it, there's a lot more coming into the system. So it's great.
Actually, just popped in the mind, kind of doing the audible here. But if you do have a great coach, send that in to us. Office@hockeyedmonton.ca. Again, tag in the subject line Hockey Edmonton Show, coach shout out, and we're going to work on getting those shout outs to our coaches as well, social media wise and such. So again, get that into us, and
awesome.
We're going to show more recognition.
There we go. Well, this was awesome. I want to give a little bit of a shout out to Zach, who produced the show for us, bringing in all the guests. That was great. He did an awesome job, as you know. This is the Hockey Edmonton Show, and I'm YouTube Trev. This is Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in. You can watch us on Saturday, and we'll see you next week for episode number 4. Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting. All the support. It means the world. Drop a comment down below. Leave a like, and we'll see you in the next